Hi guys, welcome back to another 12 by 12 spread. I am working with a Valentine's kit that I got from Scraptastic, and I think this might be maybe from 2014. It's quite an old one. I had mostly scraps left over, so that's why I'm kind of using just a little bits and pieces on this layout. I don't use any full sheets of pattern paper. I'm going to use this pinkish color for the full background, and then I'm going to kind of make my own background with some stamps in just a little bit, and you'll see that. So I just trimmed that one heart piece of paper, which is really pretty. I trimmed that down to just be on the bottom piece, and then I am going to put a scalloped border that's going to go at the top edge of that heart piece. And then I'm going to have three-ish by four-ish size pictures at the bottom, and then I'm going to have one 4 by 6 kind of towards the middle top that's going to rest like on the shelf of that heart paper. So I'm just punching this out. This is a a Fisker's punch, and it's just a really wide or a shallow, wide and shallow, I guess, scallop. And it does have some embossing detail on it, but if you don't push very hard, you really can't see that too much. And I'm just going to add that there. And you don't really see the scallop all that much, but it does show a little bit. So I just added that in for a little extra texture and dimension. So that is kind of where I'm going to place all my photos. So I'm going to start gluing this strip down and the bigger strip on the background in a minute. First, before I glue that heart paper down, I am going to pull out some stamps and stamp the background with some solid hearts and some open hearts. And I'm just going to be using some Stampin' Up! Ink. I think it's in Melon Mambo, and I tested it out at the bottom here first to make sure I'm going to like it, and it's kind of a tone-on-tone look. So to add some of the texture and dimension to the top, I'm just going to do the stamping up here, and then that way this paper doesn't look so plain. I wanted to do something to it, but I didn't want to use mixed media this time, so I just used the stamping, or mixed media really meaning you know, texture paste or stencils or things like that, or the packaging technique, our favorite. So I'm just stamping this around, and like I said, I think it's Melon Mambo ink that I'm using from Stampin' Up, and the stamp is from Ellie Edwards, and you're going to see a quick glimpse of it here in a second. That one right there, it's from her old set from Technique Tuesday, so it's quite an old set that I've had for quite some time. And then now I got the background done, I am going to, I believe, glue this bigger strip at the bottom, just using my ATG gun. Alright, so now I'm going to get that glued down, and then I'm going to start working on the photos and some of the clustering, and I'm just using a lot of the die cuts that came in the kit. I have some from Elle's Studio, and I have some other little bits and pieces from the sticker sheet that I think I'm going to be using. So that's kind of how I'm going to be doing the layering here. That little piece there, or that big piece I guess, is a card from the Elle Studio die cut pack that we got in the kit. It just looks like an index card, and I'm going to use that kind of to anchor that photo at the top. And now I'm just going through all of those embellishments, trying to figure out which ones I'm going to use. And actually there's some other ones here too from, ooh, I can't remember the name of the company that I got this from. I've had this kit for quite some time, like I had mentioned earlier, and I kind of pulled everything out of the packaging. So if I remember, I'll let you guys know, but some of it I just can't quite remember the manufacturer. But a lot of this is the Elle Studio that came in the kit. Some of it might be crepe paper, and others, like I said, I'm not quite sure. So I'm just tucking pieces in here and there, just trying to distribute the color throughout the page to make sure I like it. And I'm going to cut the top of this off so I can use it in other places because I just really want the turquoise color. And I think I'm going to tuck it in here on the right hand side maybe, because I want to bring that turquoise, or sorry, the left hand side, and I'm going to bring that color kind of across the page. And now I'm just continuing to play with the little die cuts that I have. I'm just going to go through each one of them, trying to figure out what's going to fit. And really, I'm looking for color here more than anything, so that's kind of what my goal is. And I like that little triangle there. It looks like an arrow. It kind of points into the page, kind of drawing your eye through. And then I put some yellow on the right hand side. Now I have the yellow in essentially 3 places in the layout. I have that little pink photo corner and those little quotes. Again, the quotes really don't mean anything as far as I'm not quoting anything, but the color works, so that's why I put that there. And I'm, like I said, I'm just kind of tucking in pieces here and there to fill in some of the blank spaces and use up some of these die cuts. I'm going to use this little label here. I'm just trimming it out because it had white around it, and I didn't want the white. I just wanted kind of the turquoisey color. And I think I'm going to keep it there maybe. Yes. and it says "My Sweetheart." And this is a picture of my daughter at one of the rescue things that we went to, and they're pretending to do a rescue. So she got her bike gloves, and she had to get this little scenario. So she got this bike gloves on. She had to go climb up in a tree and rescue this cat and bring it to the vet, and have the vet look over it to make sure that the cat was okay. And I thought this was a really cute thing that they had for the kids this past year at this event that we went to. So that is what she's doing, and that's why she's up in a tree. And here I'm just trimming this piece out too, because again, I'm just using it as an accent piece, so I don't want to use up the whole thing, and I can use the piece of it another place in the layout. And I think I'm going to put there in the right hand side, I think, in a little bit. So now I'm just gluing everything down using my fine liner bottle. That's a good way to kind of glue all these little bits in. It has a really fine tip, and then you can kind of get into those places without using that ATG gun. And I don't like, once I have my layers down, pulling them apart too much, because then I forget where I have them. Sometimes I take a picture, but a lot of times I just try to very carefully move the different layers and glue them down piece by piece so that it looks the same as when I first started. So that's kind of what I'm doing, just tucking in the different pieces. And so now I'm going to work on this bottom section here, I believe, just kind of fiddling with it a bit to make sure it's the way I want it. I'm going to glue down this photo corner with my ATG gun, and now my photo down, and that will kind of stick down those other layers a bit, and then I'll just go in there with my fine liner bottle and finish sticking them down, I think, here in a little bit. So like I said, I'm just kind of flipping them up, gluing them down, and sticking them back down so they don't move too much, so I can kind of keep what the look is of the layout. And this is a good way to get multiple photos on a page, just making some of your photos a little bit smaller than the rest. And then that's how I got those little 3 photos at the bottom. And they kind of tell the whole story, but they weren't necessarily the most interesting photos. I mean, you can't really see her face, she's not looking at the camera, but it kind of tells the progression of what happened, where she goes in the tree, she grabs the cat, she takes the cat back, and then ultimately she's at the vet at the top, showing off the kitty cat, making sure he is okay. So now I'm just finishing gluing up these little pieces on the background. And now ultimately I'm going to glue this photo down, just using my ATG gun. And I have the bottom of the photo tucked just a little bit underneath that bottom paper layer. And I'm pretty happy with this. Now I'm going to start adding some enamel hearts and dots. So I'm going to use 3 of these red hearts, and then I'm going to pull some other enamel dots out of my stash as well to add even more color to the page. And I'm going to end up doing clusters of 3. I think I'm going to be doing red, light pink, and maybe white, or maybe just all light pink with the red. I can't quite remember. Oh yeah, so it's going to be two reds and a light pink, and I'm just going to do that kind of throughout the little clusters. And I don't use enamel dots nearly enough, mostly because I feel like I just need to hoard them, which is ridiculous. So I need to start using them more. I have a lot of them. I just feel like, well, once I use them, they're gone, which is the problem I have with a lot of things. I'm trying to get over that, but sometimes there's some pieces that I have in my collection that are just harder to use than others. So enamel dots happen to be one of them. So I am pretty much getting done here. All I really need to do now is get the title together. I am going to title this Rescue Girl, and I'm using these yellow thickers that came in this kit. This is the thickers that have the yellow and the pink together. And I'm just going to write out Rescue Girl on my ruler, and then use it, pull it around the page, trying to figure out where I want to put it, and then ultimately it's going to go in that top right hand corner. So while I'm doing that, I just want to thank you guys so much for joining me. If you liked the video, please give me a thumbs up, and if you're not already a subscriber, please subscribe. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. I love hearing from you guys, and I can't wait to talk to you guys again soon. So I'm just now finishing this up, putting some little hearts down, and then I'm going to, oh my gosh, I made a mess. I forgot about that. I'm going to finish this off with some white sprinkles. I will clean this mess up so you don't have to watch it, and then you will see some close-ups here in the end. So, or I think, oh no, you get to see me clean it up. I forgot about this part. I forgot to take it out. Oh no, there you go. Now here are some close-ups, and I have photos at the end, so stay tuned. Thank you guys so much, and I will talk to you again soon. Bye. Have a great day.